Hey everybody, we've got a lot to cover and I got a short amount of time, a little bit late here today, so let me cover real quick on the river stages. Here's the latest on the lower. Again, coming in at 66.3, continues its drop fairly steadily. In fact, and by this midday period, it'll be about 66. It should be below that 65-foot mark, getting us back into minor flood stage as we head into the overnight period, it looks like. Now again, this is also considering some of the rainfall forecast. Now it depends if the rainfall forecast is right. That's a whole other issue that we got to look at. But I do think a steady drop is likely, but we may see it level out a bit with some of the rain coming our way. Again, the exact amounts of rain that we may pick up Wednesday and Thursday could alter this. But this is how it looks now. 34.8 on the upper gauge. Again, falling below that 30 mark as we head into the overnight period. For those of you that are interested for the Salt River, quick update there. It continues its drop, 32 feet. In fact, it should be back into a normal status anyway as we head into the evening period. That's good news. And the Rolling Fork, kind of the same story. It continues to have its drop. Right now it's at 42.4. It'll be a little more of a steady drop overnight and eventually getting below that 35-foot mark. And for those of you up around for the White River, the East Fork of it, we're keeping an eye on that as well. 17 feet forecast to drop dramatically really as we head into the next couple of days, but additional rainfall could again change that. So we're improving things. The water's going down. I think the rainfall forecast would slow some of these down. The smaller winds like the Salt, Floyd's Fork, Beargrass Creek, they could go back up with some of the heavier rain movement our way, but the Ohio, the larger systems will likely may slow a bit, but I don't see them going back up as a result of that. As always, all that could change, but that's the way things are trending. That's good. All right, here's a look at the satellite image. Nothing to talk about, just a high level thin cirrus kind of scooting on by. Beautiful looking sky, beautiful weather in general, on our way very close to 70 for this afternoon. All right, so let's get right into the setup here. And this is really a three-piece deal when it comes to how this will play out for us. First piece will be toward tomorrow morning. I mean, we've actually got a couple of waves that are trying to join together. One moving out of St. Louis, one out of Nashville. Some of the models take the one out of St. Louis and kind of fizzle it out. The one in Nashville becomes the dominant one, which means the rain total is a little bit higher south of the parkways. The RPM model is trying to hint, though, that the two would actually stay fairly well intact, and hopefully they could skip the majority of rush hour. Let's hope that's the case. It's going to be a close call, though. There will be periods of moderate, maybe even some heavy rain in some cases, and some lightning and thunder with the two combining. So we'll watch that. Again, tomorrow morning is the key period for that. Then we get the warm front that'll move northbound as we head into Wednesday night into early Thursday. There will be a period of thunderstorms along that. Briefly heavy rain, but they should be moving quick enough that impacts look to be fairly minimal. But here's the third round, and this is the most interesting one really, is we have an area of low pressure moving across Indianapolis that's really digging into the Ohio Valley, and we may get some sun breaks. Now timing's everything, but the trend is to allow for some of these sun breaks toward midday Thursday before the front moves in. That would allow for some thunderstorms to develop. Now there's not going to be a whole lot of moisture to work with, and I think that's a key player in this, but the wind energy is certainly there, as well as some instability to present a damaging wind threat, a hail threat, and even a small tornado threat. And this will be Thursday. In fact, I'm debating on whether or not to throw out an alert day to bring awareness to this for Thursday or not. I'm going to go over some more data, let you know coming up here shortly on midday, but that's a possibility. And it will turn very windy behind that front, and it gets cold. I mean, we're talking about wind chills in the 30s Thursday afternoon, and strong winds could get close to advisory level for the wind, by the way. So on rainfall, let me break it up. Let's talk about the Wednesday meshing of the two waves. Having that idea, see Bedford's at 1 inch, Louisville about a ½ inch to 3/4 potentially. That's not great news, but it is manageable. It can cause some minor flash flooding, but not a major event like we saw Saturday. Now, when we look in combining the Thursday event into it, you see our totals begin to go up. But it really just depends on whether thunderstorms begin to pop, and that will really skew the totals big time depending on your location. So the potential is there for 1 to 2 inches of rain out of this. We're still trying to figure out exactly how each one of these waves will bring which amount, but I think if we can keep them separated enough, only some minor flash flooding would be the bigger issue, and some of the creeks and streams may rise, but the big river, including the Ohio and Kentucky River, would likely not climb back up, but may slow a bit in their fall. That's the overall theme here. So that's the rainfall side. Now, the severe side, we're not outlooking from the Storm Prediction Center, but this is the area that I think has potential to produce some gusty winds, hail, and again, a possibility of even a brief tornado out of this. When you look at the wind energy, this is from the NAM model, the high-res NAM, you can see the wind energy is certainly there. Now, this is the cold wind we're going to get that afternoon, but ahead of it, still a good pocket of wind energy ahead of the system. And when we look at Where's my other graphics? Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. We look at potential for some sub breaks. High-res NAM again, showing that potential for just a bit of sun to create the instability. Of course, that's a catalyst. If we were not to get that, that would take out a fairly significant ingredient. Dew points, 50 to 55, not high. I mean, we're getting a time of year where you want to get closer to 55 to 60 at least. This is a little more marginal. I think that will allow for any thunderstorms to be very speckled, cellular, if you will. There won't be a big wall of thunderstorms or anything, but very broken line would form because of the lower dew points. But you can still get, even with dew points around lower 50s, you can still get severe weather. Temperatures have a chance to surge to around 60 to 62. I'm going to keep that intact before we fall as we into Thursday afternoon. And still, I think for the majority of the time period, there will be quite a bit going on in the deep south that we've talked about that will block a lot of the flow of what's going to move into Kentucky. That's going to help us out on rain totals. What I showed you is already a lot better scenario than what we would have if we didn't have a lot of this blocking going on. So that's good. The idea here for Thursday is the low pressure itself is adding such a dynamic profile to the atmosphere for Thursday that any amount of moisture can be worked with here and needs to be watched. So again, this could be a marginal risk. I don't know if we'll go to slight, but it could be a marginal risk added later on for hail and even a brief tornado. It's not going to be a major outbreak because of the lower dew points, but I think it's something that deserves at least a mention. Beyond that, we do have a nice weekend coming, dry weather, thank goodness for that. And then we're back to another wave. Look how it's curled up here on Tuesday. It looks like some rain, maybe some thunder. Yes, the rain snow line aloft does move in, but it's going to lag a bit to be able to produce snow. It may happen into our north and northeast. However, it will be a colder setup that eventually we're going to get into the point where we could have some rain and snow mixes going on as we look into the longer term, and we'll see what happens toward mid-March here. I don't see any bitterly cold air that's going to lock in, but I do think we're going to have more cold air to work with to keep winter alive, and I think that'll be a theme for March. That's it for today, guys. We got a lot going on, of course, next few days, so enjoy the beautiful weather outside while you can.